Hey guys, how you doing? So let's have a look. Let's get a bit more light in the situation. That looks a little better. Yeah. So today I wanted to speak about specifically about stress and anxiety. So I've been in this coaching industry for God knows 15 years. Maybe more, maybe not, maybe more. Done other things as well. Hypnotherapy. Also worked in the investment field as well for a long time. And the stress and anxiety, I used to suffer with it as well. Still do now and again. And also, it was quite prevalent in those environments. So I don't think there's anybody that hasn't been touched by this. And it can really have a massive impact on our lives when we work out, when you understand that we are operating from a mindset, a primitive mindset that is not best suited for making the right decisions. It can affect our health, obviously. It can, affect our overall well-being. So what I wanted to do is just kind of take you through some things. I've got some extensive notes here. And first talk to you about exactly how the mind works and why we're in that space, why we need to be anxious in the first place, and what's the purpose behind it, and then some things that we can actually do to sort of combat it. And I'll say right from the go now, it's not about wanting to get rid of anything. You can't get rid of it, and you'll see why in a minute. It's about coping with it and having the choice, having the awareness, and then moving into something that you do want to do instead. Okay, so moving forward then. Yeah, it's about transforming that energy into something else. That's all it is, because energy doesn't go anywhere. It just gets reformed, if that makes sense, okay? So, first of all, you need to understand that we actually have two minds, or two parts of the brain. I want to talk to you a bit about how the brain works. So we have the intellectual mind. This is our newest part, our sort of crowning glory. This is what sets us aside from other species, other animals. This is our kind of executive function, our creative side. It helps us. Normally, when we're in this space, we're happy, we are creative, and we can make decisions based on logic and reason. Now, there's another side as well, the primitive part, which is also known as the limbic system, which is made up of three major parts, which is the amygdala, also known as the kind of fight or flight response, the hippocampus, which is responsible for our behaviors, our memory, and our patterns of experience, and hypothalamus, which regulates the chemical responses in our body. So what does that all mean then? All right, this is not a science test, but let's assume that you are going to leave wherever you're watching this right now, and you run into, I don't know, a polar bear. So what would happen? You'd go automatically from your intellectual mind into the primitive mind, and then what would happen is your heart rate would increase, your hands would go sweaty, you get a churning in your stomach, and then you look to run. And this is obviously this is quite an apt response to have, bearing in mind that you are under threat. And essentially, this is what the primitive mind does. This is obviously the primitive mind being the oldest part of our brain. And like you say, it would be an ideal response. The intellectual mind runs slightly slower. So, and of course, you probably wouldn't need it at that time. You don't want to look at the bear and think, I wonder if it's eaten. I wonder if it's actually showing aggression right now, and it's not actually a threat to me. You don't want to really be making those decisions. It's instant. It will cut in instantly, which is why it's such a massive rush to us, and we have that kind of those pangs, which is great. And to a greater or lesser extent, this is what's going on a day-to-day basis. However, it is always, it's never off. Your primitive mind is never off. It's always looking to assess danger, how to keep you safe, okay? And if it's ensured your survival a time before, then it will do the same thing again and repeat it, which is why we have these cycles. So the other thing is that it can be we can have a gradual build-up of these things. So like I say, that's great if the polar bears come around the corner, but not so great if there's like a bill turns up on the doorstep, or I don't know, we've had an argument with somebody, or something like that. We're still going to have those same responses. The other thing to know about the primitive mind is that it's very limited, and it only functions then within the parameters of anxiety, depression, or anger, or sometimes a combination of all three. If the primitive mind perceives that there is some sort of crisis, like I've already said, then it can only choose one of those opt-out clauses. So it's there specifically designed for our survival. And here's the other thing, for you OCD people out there, it's constantly vigilant. So it's always checking for threats, but it'll also always check things. Have you ever found yourself thinking, have I locked the door? Did I lock my car? That's what that is. It's the same thing going over and over again. Okay, so it has like a reoccurring pattern as well. So because it's not an intellect, it can't create anything. So it'll just refer to previous patterns of behavior. Okay, so like I've said, if it ensures if what we did yesterday ensured our survival, it'll do the same again, and so on and so on and so forth. Which is why we have these habits of behavior that actually, they may not really serve us, but we're just used to doing them. So because it makes us feel safe. So essentially, anxiety in particular is about negatively forecasting the future. So let me give you an example. Let's say you've got a meeting coming up, right? And you're obsessed about this meeting over and over. In fact, I had this with a client this week actually. He was really nervous about this meeting, and he was playing it over and over again in your mind. So let's say you've got this meeting, you play it over and over again in your mind. It is, it's going to go wrong. It's going to go wrong. Whatever. Now the meeting may actually go fine. However, you've played that meeting negatively, 30, 40, 50 times, and only once it's gone right. But the other 50 has been a complete write-off. That's the type of thing that is the thing that we need to kind of break, the cycle we need to sort of to be aware of. It's always going to be there. However, there's a way of controlling that. So it's accumulation then of these negative thoughts that cause anxiety. So you can have, it's not just a series of things. We have loads of stuff going on throughout the day. And bear in mind, this is our perceptions of what's going on as well. So we could like to call it you contain this, like a stress bucket. So there might be little things just chipping away all the time, just adding to it, just going along. And before you know it, your stress bucket is then full. And this is what causes you to have those kind of, those massive feelings of anxiety or stress or whatever, and you just can't take it, or you react in the wrong way, or whatever. There's certain things that may trigger us for whatever reason, like a set of beliefs from back in the day when we were younger, whatever. But too much of an accumulation of that will cause us to have that kind of that reaction to it. So, what else was I going to say to you about that? So how do we break the patterns then? This is probably the question you should be asking. How do you do this? There is one way, here's the thing, thought or our thinking is just one element of why we cause stress. We look at other reasons what might cause us to stress as well, but this is more about the mindset at this point in time, but we will cover some other things in a second as well. So this is just very much the thought element. So we do have a natural method for getting rid of accumulated stress. So you may or may not heard of like REM sleep, REM, which stands for rapid eye movement. So what that does, in our sleep cycle, it will organize the events from the day from an emotional narrative to that of just a memory. Okay, so let me give you an example. So let's say you had an argument with somebody in the day, and then you go home, you rant about it to whoever, your significant loved one or whatever, and or friend or whatever, and then you go to sleep, you go to bed, then you wake up the next day. Normally, it doesn't have as much as of an emotional charge to it. You think, okay, I can't believe I've let that bother me to the extent that it did, or whatever. So that's what REM sleep does. Now, unfortunately, REM sleep only equates for 20% of our sleep cycle. So you can see then that if you've got a full stress bucket, that means you're waking up with some residual angst, some residual stress and anxiety still in your bucket because you haven't managed to get rid of it. Which is why we're on a kind of an ongoing cycle then of how not having the levels topped up, which means we can go over straight away more easily, or we're easily triggered. So this is why sleep is so important as well, but I'll touch on that a bit later as well. So as well as the importance of sleep, we need to be able to operate in the parameters of anxiety and depression. So when you're at the anxious end of the market, you're giving off the cortisols, the adrenaline, and things like that. Okay, and when you're at the depressed end, you actually give off no chemicals at all. But when you're in the middle, which is the sweet spot, this is what you want, is you're giving off things such as serotonin, noradrenaline, dopamine, endorphins, etc. And that is the intellectual mind. That's the intellectual mind where you want to be in, which is right in the middle. The anxious part is the primitive brain, as is the depressed part. That's the primitive mind as well. That's what's in control. But what you want is the intellectual mind control of the two. So how do you do that? Well, it's quite simple, really. In a sense, what we need to be doing is have positive thoughts, positive actions, and positive interactions. So we can do that in a number of ways, but and again, we will touch on that. We'll touch on that shortly. But thoughts in particular, things that make us happy, interactions, people, places, things, thoughts, actions, and interactions, people, places, things. Yeah. So it's about keeping you. If you're aware, then you have a bucket of stress. Then you'll be able to start regulating that. And usually it's just about checking in and thinking, well, how do I feel? How am I feeling at this point in time? And then if you are triggered, okay, well, what do I need to do then to combat that? Okay, prior to it actually just happening and you being fully aware of it. You have to remember that the things I'm going to be talking to you about, or things I'm going to be talking about, is not so much as a quick fix as such. It's these are things that should be done as a prevention, as a daily practice, as a ritual, as opposed to just a cause, if that makes sense. Just to treat it. It's not a band-aid type of thing. Although there are some things within this that can help you immediately. But however, what you'll find is if you actually commit to having a practice more so, then you'll find that over time that your stress levels won't be as high from a day-to-day basis. You'll feel a lot more calmer, more relaxed, without the need for medications or anything else like that as well. So that's the aim. Okay. So the next step then is the body. This is really important to understand, that the body has its own intelligence system. So the body actually sends messages to the mind as well. So if your body is under stress or perceived stress, then it will send those stress signals up to the mind, and then the mind will kick it back down, and then you'll go back into that fight or flight system. It's really important to kind of recognize that you have you need to take care of your body. There's probably no surprise there, as much as you do your mind, okay? So there's a series of things that we can do with that help us take care of our body. So the first one is breathe. It's as simple as that, or breath work. Have you ever seen anyone have a panic attack, or have you maybe experienced a panic attack, and they want to get you to blow into a bag or or something like that, or taking deep breaths. That's all that is. Because what happens is all you're doing is moving from one nervous system to the next. So you're going from the kind of the sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight, into the parasympathetic, which is your rest or digest, essentially. So there's loads and loads of research on stuff, and we'll be doing some more teachings on this, so I'll tell you about that a bit later on just simple breathing works, and just taking some deep breaths, holding it for a certain number of seconds, then releasing it, and creating that cycle. This is why meditation is so good first thing in the morning, or breath work, or mindfulness. It all starts with regulating your breathing and becoming aware of it. As humans, we don't really go through, we're not really conscious of how we are breathing. It's normally going to be shallow, and it most certainly is shallow when we're stressed out as well. That's 100%. So that's the first thing to go. We're kind of short of breath, and it's very extremely shallow. But slow, deep breaths actually tells your body that it's calm, basically, and your body will then tell your mind that it's calm, and then all of a sudden you do calm down. So it's kind of a knock-on effect. Okay. Food and drink is the next one. I've done some great work with some good guys actually. CJ Swaby, Lucy Bishop, who is a nutritionist. CJ Swaby also great on his nutrition, but also he's just a health magnet in general, as he calls himself, and rightly so. And the food side of things is really important as well. So there's a lot of us that I've known a few people actually that are suffer quite badly from anxiety. However, the diet is shocking. The diet's rubbish. They may drink a lot of alcohol still. The caffeine is terrible because it's a stimulant. Sugar, white carbs, SNE numbers, all of the things are essentially high in sugar, basically, and not good for the body anyway. So they're just going to stimulate you. They're low in nutrients as well. And that actually sends your body into a state of stress, okay? Which sends those signals back up to the brain. So what you really want to be eating, or making sure that you're drinking plenty of water, eating whole foods, plenty of green vegetables, herbal teas if you can. Chamomile is great for calming the body. Green tea to flush out the system, and then maybe some supplements and vitamins. But again, this will be more a kind of specialized thing. So at some point, I will get Lucy on, I'll get CJ on as well, and we'll do some more educational stuff around that, so you can really get a full idea of what it is that you should be consuming that allows you to live on a holistic kind of way. And I'm not talking about the benefits clearly will be that you will be of better health. So if you're overweight, you'll lose a bit of weight or whatever, but you'll function better as an entire system. It's not mind and body. If your body is crap, then it doesn't matter what you do to the mind, and vice versa. All right. So it really needs to understand the relationship between the two, because they have very unique intelligence systems and a very unique way of communicating to each other. Okay, what's next? Okay, movement. So movement is really important as well. We sometimes forget that we're actually human beings, and we can still be stuck in these boxes for long periods of time, and we're actually built to sort of move and travel, walk great distances as well. So just think, getting out in the outdoors would be perfect if you can walk in the outdoors. But even if you can't, some sort of exercise that gets your heart rate up again, releases those endorphins, the serotonin, gives those feel-good hormones going through your body on a more regular basis, and your body will start to look for those, and it will create more of those as the more you do. Which is why it's funny, because people always say, "Oh, I don't have the time, or I haven't got the energy, or whatever." The reason you haven't got the energy is because you don't do it. But once you do it, people will tell you the more you exercise, the more energy that you actually do have, and clarity of thought and clarity of there's less brain fog, and this is what we're talking about. There's brain fogs, the memory loss, all those types of things, the stress. If you have a good exercise regime that includes movement and getting the heart rate up, then you'll have a lot better chance of managing your stress and anxiety, and thinking clearly, and being able to create and staying in that intellectual mind a bit longer, or for longer periods of time. Get those endorphins going. What else can I tell you about the body? What else? Okay, so I touched on these already, but solid sleep is really important. So sleep cycles. I don't care. I know I don't care. My opinion is that anywhere a minimum of 7 hours to 9 hours is what you need to be having. Otherwise, you're telling your body's tired, and you're telling your mind's tired, and it has a massive effect on how you manage your stress. Proper hydration is the next one. I said earlier water, but plenty of water as well. Dehydrated, it tells your body again that you're going to be you're under stress. Stretching, and I put stretching because it's just loosening the muscles, making you feel more relaxed, and similarly massage as well is fantastic for that. If you can get a good massage, at least go for one at least once. I try to go sort of once at least once a fortnight, but definitely once a month. I need to have a good massage, full body. It doesn't need to be like a sports sort of like neck break type of situation, but even those are great for sort of releasing tension that's in the body, that's well within the body. And again, I put walks, but being outdoors is a great thing. Being in nature, like I said, we're animals still. So being in and around nature, in and around trees. There's a great workshop that we'll be doing on the outdoors, earthing, and other bits and pieces, kayaking, etc. So I'll keep you posted on that as well if you want to get involved. But that's really, really important. Okay, so we've done the mind, we've done the body, and we're going to kind of go down the spiritual route now. As I say, I've done, as well as the hypnotherapy and the coaching, there's a lot of sort of spiritual practices that I've been doing, and I know this has kind of different connotations for people, and it's a bit like, whatever, a bit that woo-woo bullshit, or whatever. It's not necessarily woo-woo. This is, let me kind of tell you what I mean by that. So it's kind of like a faith. Regardless of what your faith is, you may be religious, you may not be, but it's something, in a faith in something greater than yourself. But it's also that kind of connection is what you're looking for, that reminds you to stay alive and in the present moment. That's all I mean by spirituality. It's something that keeps you here, fully focused in the present. As I said, anxiety is normally future forecasting. Depression is rumination on the past. And for some reason, we forget that we actually need to be here, solid, present. Now, what that means for some people, I know I have a great friend, finds it very difficult to meditate, but she runs. So she'll just run, and her mind is clear. That's how she does it. It's the same thing. She's present in that moment. She's not thinking about the past or about the future. She's just running. So that, whatever that means to you, but it needs to be made a regular practice in order for you to get the full benefits from that. So, meditation obviously is another one. But you can think of there's probably things that you do right now that that you enjoy, and when you do them, you're right in the middle of it. You're just practiced. You're zoned out. You're fully present in whatever it is that you're doing, and that's all it is. That's what we're looking for. Something that's free of distractions, essentially, and free of the kind of the rumination, or free of the future forecasting. And as Eckhart Tolle would say, and as a lot of the spiritual people would say, the presence is all we have, here and now. So what we're doing then, by focusing on the past or the future, is that we're literally robbing ourselves of now, of today, of this kind of, this right here, right now. This is all I'm focused on. Right, even now, as I'm talking to you, that's all I'm focused on, is how I get this message across to you, and what I'm delivering. It's exactly the same thing. Some people write, some people paint. Whatever it is, creativity is a great one for this. What else do I need to tell you about that? But even if you don't have that, then maybe think of something that you could try. Try something out where you need to really concentrate and be in the present moment. I had another good friend of mine who started taking up salsa dancing because his coordination's rubbish and he wants a bit of fun. But he said what he's found is, as he's dancing around and having to be present and focus and concentrate, that his mind isn't elsewhere, and it's done really good. It's had really good benefits for him, not just the fun element, but the mind element of things too. So I'm going to kind of go on a bit about spirit and energy now as well. So like I've said, environment is key. Walks in the country, being around positive friends. Live music is a big one. This is for me, but live music is a big one. Being with animals as well. Some people have pets, or being around the birds, whatever. That's your thing. Viewing art, travel, visiting places. I mean, the list is it's not exhaustive, but whatever works for you. The next one is creativity. So I think I touched on this earlier. Maybe some people write, some people are great at drawing, colouring, playing music, dance, painting, cooking, whatever it is, something that gets you creative. Even colouring in. Those adult colouring books, they're fantastic. I think I bought a few friends those for Christmas once, and I know they're quite highly strung people, and they love them, and they go through them no problem at all. And grounding. So the last one is grounding, like I've said, meditation or prayer, depending on your preference. Relaxation, trying mindfulness practices. Walking barefoot on the earth. Now, if you've not tried that, then please don't roll your eyes, because it really does work. And do some research on it. In fact, no, I haven't got it. There's some great links, but if you research grounding and the benefits from that, then and then try it, then come back to me and say, Kevin, you're full of shit. But until that point, don't knock it until you tried it. Yoga's a great one as well. I've done some yoga, and I can't explain really what the benefits to me are just profound. They're a bit beyond my comprehension. I just love it. I just love what that does for me, my body. And again, being in nature is a massive one. So yeah, that's it really. To summarize though, all of those things. Understand where you are in your bucket, how much you've got in your bucket. Know that when you're stressed, or when you do feel that kind of stress, you know that you're in your primitive mind. Therefore, you shouldn't be reacting emotionally or making decisions from that space. So you need to work out how to calm yourself down, or work out how to get back into the intellectual mind. That might be taking time out and breathing, or whatever it is, using that as a resource. And then the other stuff is things that you should practice. So try those things out. Try those, looking at hanging out in different environments. Try being in nature. Try have regular practice of meditation or breath work. All of those things that I've said. And being creative. That's a massive one as well. And if you create a practice for yourself, in and around yourself, and make it something that is just part of your day, it's just something that you do, then it brings the anxiety right down. I know that much for sure. Since I've been, I went away to Bali, so when I was over there, I was doing a lot of meditations and stuff, and I've made a conscious effort to, when I came back, to do exactly the same thing, and my clarity of thought is much better. And we're only in February, and I came back in the middle of January, so I've only been, not even a month yet, and it's just I've carried on with that practice, and my day looks like waking up, making my bed, drinking a glass of water, coming down, meditating for 10 minutes, and that could be guided. I might listen to something, or if I feel like I can do it, I'll just do it myself, I will. And then I may go for a walk, depends on what day it is. I normally train, or go for a walk, or do something, but there's some sort of exercise in the morning. Only then do I start my day and look at other things. And here's another thing as well. When you wake first thing in the morning, please don't look at your phone. Please don't. The first thing most people do is look at their phone and start getting, because you're automatically stimulated. It takes you away from your that kind of sleep state. That kind of because when you first wake, that's a beautiful time to meditate, or a beautiful time just to connect and set your intentions for the day. So to ruin it by just checking your phone, that's it. You're off and out. You're at the races then until you go to bed at night, until you put your phone down at night. So it's a nice kind of, I call it my power hour. So it's a nice kind of thing to wake up for the first hour and then not touch anything or do anything else like that. So I think that was it really. I think that was all I wanted to kind of talk to you about. I wanted to get you to, if you like some more of this stuff, what we're going to do, I will send a link to give you, there's a PDF book that I'm going to give away that goes through what I've just been talking about. That's what I've been reading off now and again. And also there's a relaxation guided meditation or hypnotherapy script, depending on which one suits you. But it's just a 20-minute recording that helps you relax. If you can play that before you go to bed, it helps you go to sleep straight away. Or first thing in the morning, it just helps with your relaxation. You can play that anytime you want, but it's specifically designed for you to sort of combat your stress and get you into a relaxed state and get you into that intellectual mind state again. So I will send you those. They're free to have. So keep an eye out for that link. I'll put the link in the group post as well, so you can just click on that. What else have I got to tell you? Oh, LFP Circle. So this is the same. It's like it's free to join. It's a Facebook group page, but it's closed. And essentially what that does is you're going to have interviews from people that I've worked with. I've mentioned a couple of them today. There's some other people around money. There's some other people around relationships. Fantastic people at the top of their game. And essentially that group is all about, for those people that are serious about making specific changes in their life. So there's a lot of sort of back and forth contribution going on. There's a lot of cross kind of conversations going on. And that's what we want, essentially. So it's about a group that supports each other. It's a little community. I think the numbers are quite small, and that's the idea. It's only going to be a few numbers, but again, the only prerequisite is that you have to be serious about making a specific change, and you have to contribute to the group at some point. If I ask a question or someone else asks a question, you might not have something, then please you're encouraged to share that. And what you find is that we're all the same, we're all the same, but you never know who can help who. And this is why people are sharing not only their wins, they're sharing their kind of their challenges, their frustrations as well. So we have a kind of a level of empathy, compassion, but also there's something that we can all learn from and grow from, and there may even be some solutions within that group. That's what it's about. No man is an island and all that good stuff, or woman, obviously. So yeah, that's that. So please do, if you feel free to like and share this post. And yeah, I think that is it. Yeah, so thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you soon. And have a great day. And please try those things. Try those things out. And keep an eye out for the posts, the links, and I'll look forward to sharing those with you. Take care. Bye.